We are very pleased to have with us Mr. Shankar Subbiah. And while in the introduction that you would see, you would just see him as Agate Infotek, what he has done, and he is a colleague who has worked a bit with us in terms of molding our own knowledge at TIS, Tata Institute of Social Sciences, for understanding what assistive technology does. And it's really a pleasure to introduce him as he speaks on accessibility in education and AI impact or possibilities. And this is not just a very important theme because conversations on AI can run ahead of the people they are meant to serve. But also Shankar is this really passionate person who sits at this meeting point between technology and care, something that we have been discussing as of now, where you have to understand what care is. He's very deeply immersed in assistive technology and not just as a fancy add-on. He looks at it as genuinely trying to see how it can open up access, open up participation, work and ensure dignity for all learners. That includes persons with disabilities of all different kinds. So I hope we will understand more from Shankar what all we can do. But beyond the technology that many of us value, Shankar is really a very great person. And I do want to say that he's wonderfully approachable and he's always ready to listen very patiently, very kindly. And he's a person who does not make you feel silly for asking a basic question. So I hope that there will be more questions in the chat and feel free to ask those questions as we go along. And we'll try and pull in as many of them as we can answer. And he will stay with the problem until some solution begins to appear. So he's very accessible that way, and he has been very kind in mentoring students and others, colleagues, and everyone around. So we're very happy to have with us someone who brings in a lot of expertise, but without any intimidation, and he to bring in a very strong commitment that focuses on working in making technology more inclusive and more humane. So over to you, Shankar, for telling us what more we can do with AI in education and what it does. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you, Anusha, for your kind gesture, as well as I'd like to thank ISL for the opportunity given. I believe I am audible.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, without taking much of the time, in the interest of others who have joined, I'd like to say my good morning, namaskar, as well as good day to everybody. I could see like many still joining. Thanks for your interest, particularly in accessibility in education, embarking AI for accessibility. Please give me 1 minute. I am just trying to technology. 1 minute. I'm just trying
Yes,
to
yes. So,
suddenly.
yeah, in the meantime, I'll just carry on. Don't worry. And so, one of the things that you can think about as you listen to Shankar and have questions on it is think about what all you would want for inclusion. How do you think about inclusion? And inclusion means of all kinds of people. And so, you could ask those questions. And how and what you think are challenges in terms of AI, and whether it would help. Sometimes everything does not have to be AI, it could just be basic technology. So please feel free to ask those questions. I know Shankar adores having questions asked. And so yeah, if everything is set,
Thank you,
Shankar,
Anusha.
over
Thank
to
you.
you.
Positively. Now I'll try to meet up the to the expectations. Maybe like if my language is not that great, please let me know. Okay.
No, it's fine, Shankar.
It's fine.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So can I share my
Yes, you, I
screen
think,
and
have
present a
rights.
presentation? Okay.
I think you have the rights if you click on share.
Great. Yeah, I'm able to. Thank you. Basically, it all started with my engineering background and working on technologies for persons with visual impairment. Okay, as a software developer working on a product. So the journey began that, and then probably like it's happy that I'm and as part of a team of educators now, and trying to contribute something in this space too. Um, right. So
Shankar,
I'll try to go to
you can either use the reading mode or the slideshow,
I'm
depending
going
on.
for the slide mode, and maybe there are many people who are asking me to admit to. I'm
No,
just doing
we
that.
will take care of that. Don't worry.
Okay,
Yes, we will
thank
do
you.
that. Don't, please
Uh,
don't worry.
Thank you for it. Okay, so here, like the whole session, I'm trying to dwell more upon the opportunities that artificial intelligence, the AI, gives in education. My probably like kindly bear with, like I've been not part of the earlier session, but from the last few minutes I was there, I could sense that great experts shared on a platform for panel, like how AI could be also of inclusive, on accessibility and all that. So with much not taking time, a small kind of a case study I'd like to present. Okay, so that you'll know the importance of how technology can play in one's life. Okay, so a child I can say who I saw at 6 to 7 years old. Okay, who was literally wanting to jump on technology, seeing that others use mobile, is now at a grown-up adult, in Ashoka doing fellowship, okay, on international affairs and all that, and still he has mastered technology in all the way, like the assistive technologies for visual impairment, like screen reader, and then mobile devices and all that. But basic needs of his life, he thought that he should also, as a young adult, he should also dress up good. Okay, right? And he started like learning something, and we worked together and learning something about AI and all that. And he started now doing a product design. Okay, the sense like an app which will really leverage AI. Okay, that's what you are seeing on the screen. His vision just to kind of scan from his wardrobe and select a particular cloth, and after putting a particular shirt or something like that, then search for something. Okay, the right pant or something, whatever be the other next accessory he could put. So this AI has given him this particular chance, of taking a decision by himself. But if you think on a daily life, right, everyone has a choice, right? And with so much of technology or maybe advancements happening, the basic right of dressing, okay, that even is getting influenced now. Okay, when AI is there, it is possible, right? And he started adding, like thinking about others, even elderly persons and everybody who may not be very comfortable thinking about typing something and saying, and he has put on speech to text AI there. Then like switching on the camera, everything, like the design thinking part of him, without even seeing a simple visual, okay, on the screen, you could see this now, right? So this is where I feel like A is for inclusion. Okay, maybe like I could send you the links if someone is interested to explore more. Okay, of this particular app, and you can also give your valuable feedback. And literally now he is building something where he can go to a shopping store and then scan any of this and see that whether it is already there in the wardrobe, or should he buy this or not for him. Will it be a fit for him or not? Okay. So this is how learning with AI, okay, learning with AI not alone helps in education alone, but even in a regular societal life, okay, that really encourages people to get on to next level. So that's where we are upon now. Now we'll also see a kind of a example of an exclusion. Like I believe my
Our
video
vision
audio
is
is
to
something.
empower people with disabilities to live independently. Deaf, hard of hearing, and speech impaired individuals face many challenges daily. Let's Talk Sign is an automatic sign language interpreter that address all their challenges. Education app for deaf students. Content can be preloaded by teachers. Chapters has multiple topics and sections to ensure understanding. Easy navigation between topics and sections. Interpretation in deaf, understandable format with visuals. Audio readout for visually impaired students. Education app for teachers to teach in sign language. Short voice commands to control flow and navigate topics while teaching. Real-time sign interpretation in classroom for teachers or instructors. Education tool for sign interpretation in LMS or CMS. Easy integration with LMS or CMS. Sign interpretation of any digital contents like video, audio, text, document, etc. Auto control of video and audio for smooth UX for learners. Auto-generated summary, FAQ with answers and glossary sections. Chat in sign language to clarify doubts. Education app for deaf individuals. Real-time video interpretation. Browser extension that provides sign interpretation for videos. Auto-generated summary, FAQ with answers and glossary sections. Chat in sign language to clarify doubts. Can translate transcripts automatically to preferred Indian language. Personal assistant app for deaf individuals. Answers to any questions in easily understandable and simple sign language format. News feeds from up to 10 different domains or categories in sign language. Word of the day feature to improve English vocabulary. So far, around 9,000 plus deaf individuals have benefited. Join us.
So I believe like this particular video was also audible to you since they enable
Yes, yes,
yeah
it was.
Zoom's sound. Probably like I could send you this link also if someone is interested. No, the thing is like
There already been questions on links.
yeah. So it all started with the question. Okay, one of our friend and who I'm co-working with this, um, just as a question like there are not much of sign language interpreters across India, and it's becoming a more a kind of a scarcity as well as a costly affair. Okay, so how could all our children in who are in deaf schools and other education centers, and even after getting into workplace, okay, there are a lot of challenges, particularly when we started working on this AI as well as with sign language, particularly like making a lot of repository of kind of a sign language videos to train the model and all that. But still, it is getting trained, okay, because India is a rich culture with so much of dialects, so much of the way we speak, the way we express, and all that. So it's still learning. The model is still learning, but we are able to make some kind of a progress, particularly okay, like slowly started integrating this particular applications in platforms, schools, workplaces, and all that. Just an a beginning, I'll say that. But I'm just trying to place this particular video in this context, saying that this is possible. Okay. So when you think about this particularly, um, I'm just thinking on a long term. Suppose if the India has various contexts of schools, okay, which we'll see it in the next slide. Okay. So why A in education, right? So there are so much of innovations happening. There are so much of innovation funding happenings all around the world, right? And so many smart solutions are also being built up, right? But it's more innovative if you're going to unlock the unique potential in every human, right? So every particular diverse learner, or who can learn differently, the method or probably the way they learn, right? Things they acquire knowledge, they do their activities, right? It's more important. So AI particularly, I feel like why AI in education addresses a personalized learning. Okay, I could have my own kind of a alternative format, what I want. If I'm not going to read this, right? Why should an Audible come now? A platform like Audible or Shopify come. Um, it plays a great importance in life, right? I know that there are, we always now we don't get into conventional mode of going to restaurants at many times, right? We order food. Likewise, why can't I learn, with my own personalized learning methodology, right? AI can support that with all this kind of NLP and all that, right? This is possible now. Inclusive support. Okay, in a classroom, am I being left out? Because I heard from many of my children, because as Anusha was pointing it out, we work more on as a practitioner than as a kind of a consulting person. So when I say practitioner, we directly involve with children or adults in their own education systems or schools or in workplaces. So the inclusive support, it meant a lot, particularly when we have a kind of a child with some kind of a condition like hard of hearing, as well as like visual impairment, a multiple disability adding, or short stature with visual impairment, or any kind of a thing, intellectual disability with visual impairment. Now there are due to various neurological or genetical conditions, like the the number of occurrences, particularly, it's increasing more and more, particularly in the intellectual and developmental, uh, disabling conditions more now. So in this case, like getting a child into a school itself is becoming a big thing. So at this point, like how can we offer a kind of inclusive support, right? So that's where like AI talks more about data, right? So how data can be utilized, particularly to understand a particular child or a student, his learning behavior, and then support it, right? It's not only just providing a device or assistive solution. It's more about like understanding the person, right? So there's one particular big puzzle which is happening, particularly for children with autism or children with ADHD kind of is. So how this could be solved? I believe like the data analytics part of AI can provide more insights. So now like when it happens to education, there are a three part kind of a collaboration has to happen. One is the learner, the other the teacher or the educator, and the environment. So the environment includes the physical infrastructure as well as the digital infrastructure, right? As well as the curriculum, which are the methodology which is being used for pedagogy. So here again, like I feel like AI particularly can play a major role in co-piloting. It's not that the teacher being replaced or the student being replaced, right? It's a kind of a pilot sits in an aircraft drive, but at the same time there is a co-pilot who can always be supplementing his role and enhancing the experience, right, of the learner as well as the teacher, while executing their daily tasks or routines. So we'll see an example of Copilot as we go down the slides. Similarly, the equity in content, that more than 80% of the whole world content, it goes in print or it goes in digital now with the social media and all that. But are they all accessible? Are they all being done born accessible for everybody? I'm taking it to like even a person who is elderly and who wants to learn something. Okay, he finds something in Coursera or Udemy or anywhere, right? And sees that, okay, this is something about me. I want to, or my subject or my interest. I want to learn something. So are they being accessible, the learning content? Is it being thought of, right? That's where, like, just providing content alone doesn't matter. Like, it's more of bringing in equity here. It's not that I make an alteration, I make an additional thing, but how could we make the platform, you know, with for equal opportunities to everyone? So AI can play a major role, particularly in this. We'll see some kind of an examples also. And insights for improvement, yes. So data is wealth, they say now. Okay, but data is also a kind of a good thing, which will really give us more insights, particularly, okay, for improvement always. We'll always say that this is scope for improvement everywhere, right? Nothing can be perfect. There's always a scope for improvement. So how AI can help out in this, right? Particularly in education, it's a kind of a learning, lifelong learning process. So how the data which is being generated can also be useful. Okay. So we'll go down in the slides and just check. Before that, I want to get into the environment, particularly though this being a kind of a symposium, like I'll dwell more upon the Indian context. Okay, like in the Indian system, we have maybe for the uh, others who are generously joined from abroad also, like the Indian system develop on four kind of systems available for school education as well as higher education, right? So it can be inclusive schools wherein all children are included into a classroom, or if the children require some kind of a has a special need which requires a therapeutic as well as a behavioral adjustments and all that, then they may get into special schools. And for those children who cannot attend any of these regular schools, okay, due to their kind of a even a unique strength like a sport or a music or something like that, as well as due to a kind of a condition wherein I need to attend my treatment constantly, or I need to attend my therapy constantly, right? So I could not make it for a school and catch up with all those attendance procedures, assessment procedures. I need an education system wherein, I go at my own pace. I choose my own subjects, which is available, right? So we have these open schooling systems. And of all this, like after the secondary stage or higher secondary stage, they get onto higher education system, which branches out to both vocational as well as the academic thing. And we do have kind of guidelines both at school education level as well as with higher education level. Though there is a lot of kind of debates which are going on how effectively are these being implemented, either in terms of infrastructure or the methodologies or the support, right? Let us keep that apart. We'll see like the positive side, how the AI integration can help it. To understand this, we should understand the learners. Okay, so I feel like from my opinion as well as from the things I have learned, for a country like India, which has a kind of a diverse population, culture, linguistic, right? We need a multi-tiered support system, particularly. Okay, and universal design of learning as a base, right? For majority of the students, around 80 to 90. And then there is a group of children who can move on in education, or the adults who can move on in education, who are at risk but can be supported with assistive technology or adaptations or accommodations in classroom. And there is one more group, okay, in tier 3 particularly, who may require a kind of an individualized instruction or support, and more a requirement of um, assistive technology or human assistance, right? Because of the persistent challenges they have, right? Due to their kind of disabling conditions, or probably they have to have unique strengths too. So when we talk about these three tiers, particularly the system, support system, which are to be for academic and behavioral supports, we are going to go deeper, to see like how AI can support this. Okay. And I'd like to request Anusha, being moderator, like wherever, if I'm sounding feeble, or because I'm just seeing
I
my
will.
screen alone, please
No,
point
we
me.
are able to
Okay,
see
and
it.
if I'm overshooting my time, also kindly let
Yeah,
me
yeah,
know.
I will.
Okay,
We have around 15 minutes more if you need
okay.
more time, like maximum 20. Yeah.
Thank you, Amish. So I have put on my slides both kind of a visual as well as more of text here, because I know that if I'm not able to cover everything in my speak, at least like people can read out, and I can also share this presentation with you for more interactions, offline also.
Thank you.
Yeah. So getting on to the tier one, okay, may uh, require. There is always like, as I was talking about the data point of view, okay. Now what is happening? I'm just getting into the admission level, right? Even at the admission, we are thinking about the reactive model. If I admit this particular kind of a student, will he be able to pass that particular grade or not? Or even after passing, will he be able to get onto the next level of higher education or not? Or should we give this particular curriculum to him or not? Right? So instead of this particular reactive model, can we not include them, be proactive in including them, and then provide them with whatever be that methodology of UDL, support him with assistive technology, okay, and then probably like understand by integrating AI, like how things are getting up, how things are being progressing. If we can analyze that particular data, that gives us two ways, right? One is that we could plan our education system, and then this can be scaling up as a model across the country, right? Maybe can be also like recommended to others, as well as like you can predict for somebody who is getting into the system, right? Who is getting into an admission state. This is what has happened, and this is what we have did. Like, can we again, plan? So we have enough information with us, right? So this particular diagram, I put on my like my prompt engineering capabilities, and I generated with all this. Okay. Um, but I could see that it was able to cover everything, at least like in a diagrammatic manner, so that people will be able to understand like what I'm really talking about. If it's not possible, please let me know. I can again come back again on an offline.
No, we are able
Right?
to read. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Right. So here, like the real insights. Okay, are we transforming our education system from a reactive to predictive model? Because I am seeing now, you know, I'm happy to say that, like, we have a child to adult grown who have been, maybe like part of his whole system, getting into a neuroscientist level, right? So that's what, his passion is about it. Why did it happen to me? Okay, what can I do for it? So that's what he used to ask. But now he is taking for his kind of, research, like, neuroscience as research. So how technology and AI is supporting him, right? When AI is integrated, the whole system has been, really proactive and predicting his next level, growth or progress, and accordingly moving along with him, right? That's what AI integration should do. So as we saw this tier one, tier two, tier three, and I believe you remember that, like, some children or adults who may require, um, they are in the universal support system, but additionally, if they have some, right, part of technology, education technology also involved, how they could fare well, right? How they could also uh, continue their learning in their own pace. So here, both for academic support as well as behavioral support, okay, I'm just diving deep. So imagine that a particular instructor, right, uploads the content, and then um, instead of he or she or the instructor checking it for accessibility and all that, you could all do this now. Okay, right? Your MS Word, your PowerPoint, your Excel has this feature now. Just go and check it in review. Okay, that will check the whole accessibility part of it and give you recommendations on how to do it. This is possible because of AI integration. By this, you are moving to an inclusive space, right? You are trying to include all in your classroom. The diverse group also getting into this. It's not about one particular kind of a condition or difficulty, but it's for all. You can do it. Similarly, like now, a student or somebody requests some kind of an alternative format which can be read through a digital device or some note-taking mechanism like a braille display. Is it possible? This is possible now, right? Or I'm a person who learns by do and learn. Can some simulations possible? This is possible now, right? And finally, like in the academic, we say that as a method of expression. Now, why should I learn? What are you going to give me for learning? And finally, do you want to know that how much I have learned, right? So the feedback mechanism also, if you can play, particularly like giving me more options with AI enablement, right? And assistive technology supporting me in communication, like augmented alternative communication devices and all that, eye gazing devices, right? Then I can also be part of the education system. This is possible. In case I do have kind of a behavioral adaptation issues, right? Can my engagement or interest, right, or the way the whole class behaves with me, right? Can it be understood by the conversations I have, by the content I deliver on the LMS systems? Can they be used for planning the next level methodology? Then your behavioral support for that group of students is also getting to next level, right? And I feel this particular content more interesting, right? And I may require some more interactions. So can I get responses for a kind of a chatbot or something like that? And as the previous speakers were saying, like the responses, the way that my language, there may be a limitation. The way I ask you may be a limitation. I'm not a kind of a prompt engineer. But if the particular system can understand, and give me answers, right? And it allows me to communicate in the mode I want. Can be speech, text, or a gesture. How is it? So it supports my behavioral requirements too. So this is like the majority of the particular student group in a classroom, around 80%. And if you are able to integrate AI, this is happening. So now this is becoming more of an ability to think, create, and innovate for real use. Okay. Now the next tier two, okay, who may require additional support in the means of a assistive technology. Okay. So how can we support in their academic as well as behavior? So even in a classroom, probably in a kind of we do have kind of a smart boards and everything now coming up, right? Even in a kind of a Tamil Nadu for that particular to take it as a case where I'm working with the government, um, even to village level, okay, there are barriers of internet and everything, but still we're continuing to do it. Okay. So the way we take one step, there may be two steps backward, but still we are continuing to do it. Okay, that's the way we have to move, right? If you think about the goals, what is set. The if that particular learning management system can, just understand the pattern how I write, the language I use, okay, and based on that, if my particular educator can develop some individualized education plan, okay, by breaking the content, or giving me the options to choose, or deciding like to what level I should learn, and then do a self-paced learning, okay, given more time, right? Curriculum adaptations, then I am being supported, and involving all my assistive technology support systems into the classroom. Similarly, in case of behavioral adaptations, wherein I find very difficult to accommodate to academic routines, particularly, okay, the whole instructional method or the learning content, okay, can be made less overwhelming in a classroom. Like, you have a period and you have a kind of a content to be delivered, but literally I'm not able to continue with that. Can it be given offline also to me in a method or in a way that I could continue my learning at home, right? And I may require some kind of a rewards, particularly as reinforcements, okay, to encourage my participation in a classroom. Can that be given? With all this kind of understanding me, right? Understanding my text or responses in a method or communication which is understood by me. Okay, this is possible with AI. So for this, I'd like to request, from day one, we may have to think about building equity in learning, the environment. Last but not the least, the group, with severe conditions, are probably who cannot come into the educational system or a physical educational environment, okay, right? How they could be supported, or who are still residing in a special education environment, okay, how they could be supported. So how hybrid or remote instructions, with the hyper individualization, the way the content is being communicated, or the way the content is being prepared as video, or video enabled with other sign language, or video enabled with more interactive tutors, right? Can it be done? This is possible now with AI integration. So any adjustments to learners' abilities or the environment they have, okay? For example, we call it in software engineering, be responsive. Okay, the user maybe I need to just check, like many of you, who are all maybe using a mobile device too, right? There's one reason I am telling you, I'll share the presentation too, so that you could, in your own pace, or when you have time, you could also see this in your other devices if you are not able to see the whole thing in a mobile device. So be responsive makes it like the way you deliver your content, or the way you give instructions, or the way you offer any do and learn activity, right? How responsive it can be to the screen sizes, how it can be to the devices you have. There may be like a barrier of bandwidth too, right? Many may not be able to attend on video lessons or video sessions. How this could be offline and it handles in a synchronous mode, right? So that's what I was trying to mean it in this academic support particularly. And every performance matrix, particularly, due to which is being coming out of the system, can turn into data insights for next level of setting up the goals or planning and then executing them. Similarly, in case of behavioral experts, particular support, particularly for those who cannot, execute all this kind of an academic routines, in a physical environment, can their daily attendance or the way they interact with the devices, sometimes there may be conditions where the whole environment at home or the place of learning can trigger something, right? It can be the kind of a precedence wherein, next level what can occur. So can that environment, or the way they are interacting, can they be studied? Can it be studied and accordingly predict some kind of occurrence or consequence, and the teacher or the instructor can just do some kind of a calming activity, right? or shift away from the regular lesson and see that, okay, can you do something else now for another 5 to 10 minutes and then continue? Or do you want a break? So this can be also addressed through computer vision and all that other kind of AI thing. Similarly, like, the behavioral predictions particularly, okay, while learning the student, particularly whether he does better by a way that the whole content is given in a gamified way or in a simulation, for more engagement, right? This can be done before getting into an area of developing such kind of a content, like in the assessment part or anywhere wherein like the efforts are less. If they're able to perform an assessment using this kind of a gamified way or a simulation, then probably we can also more spend more time and efforts, particularly right from the beginning also. So this is possible now for a trial and error. So ultimately the aim is no one left behind, okay, as we advance with the AI and IT integration. With all this like in place, like there has to be a ethical foundation, okay, as we really play with a lot amount of data particularly, and many of the systems and algorithms and all that, okay, whatever the models are being generated, they're all in the learning phase, okay. So we should also understand the fact that they may not be considering all our diverse linguistic or cultural or behavioral patterns as of now, right? They are still learning and progressing towards artificial general intelligence, right? So we cannot expect everything to happen on a day one, right? Or maybe in a day or two, right? So we have acquired this particular intelligence or the ways what we do over kind of generations, right? So we should also give the same kind of effort, but I'm sure that AI will pick up fast because there is a human behind it. Similarly, data sovereignty and privacy, particularly, okay, because we are dealing with more of private data, particularly in a kind of a school environment and all that. How could we ensure that the individual matrices or the behavioral data is literally stored and retrieved with complete transparency of maintaining logs and before even getting a kind of a concern for that particular thing, okay, right? All that has to be taken care. So this requires a bit of expertise, particularly on security and safety policies being in place. This is one particular ethical consideration we need to think about it. We cannot just use it as such. And we do have a digital and AI divide because AI is, as we know, like we still pay for GPTs, right? So it is not that it is required because for the lot of maintenance of servers and the things they are doing, right? And AI is evolving and it requires a lot of engineers behind us, annotators, making the model learn. So many are there. That's where now the whole IT workforce is working on. Oh, that's the only job we have now. Okay, to be frank. So um, this infrastructure dependency also have kind of left a gap, particularly which has to be bridged, right? So this may slowly help us, particularly, but at the same time, this we need to accept that there is a digital and AI divide, and governments are trying to make as much as possible to bridge this gap. And we should always have a human in the loop pedagogy, particularly though AI integration is happening in the classroom. The teacher is the first. Teacher is the primary stakeholder, right? And the teacher should decide, particularly in making decisions, particularly like on everything. It can be like whether to include this particular content or like the delivery method or the privacy of data, right? And then probably drive these educational interventions, okay, with optimal AI integration. Finally, with the transparency and explainability, okay. So we need to define a open box approach, okay, wherein like, we say that we have a clear documentation and we know that why we use for, right? And auditable logs, particularly when we do data processing. These are all something like I'd like to talk about particularly for the editor companies, right? Like We generate a lot of data by everybody to sign in just using Google. You can sign up, right? But what's behind in that, right? Are we having somebody to review or intercept or interpret and then make decisions on how AI going to work? So these are some ethical foundations, like, as we start integrating AI, I feel like has to be thought of, discussed more upon. So as I told you in the beginning, a case study, this will be a kind of a final slide or thing for Anusha. Okay. Just as a AI is a co-pilot,
Yes.
okay, like
Thank
a
you.
teacher co-pilot, a teacher is, having AI as co-pilot, or a student having AI as a co-pilot. Imagine that in a classroom, okay, the teacher is able to have insight of, or observe using the AI integration, right? How a student can understand a max concept, particularly what is being dealt in the classroom. Okay, she or he knows that there is a kind of a particular learning difficulty and a language behavior or language barrier, sorry. Okay, and how this could be a kind of a solution now with AI integration, right? The data serves for a dynamic insight, and the whole set of the learning material, the way the being instruction is being given can be adapted, right? And the assessment methodologies can be changed, particularly, okay, to the individual's abilities, right? At the same time, not compromising on academic standards. This is on the teacher's part. AI can support. From the student side of it, the co-pilot, how, like, even with the language barrier, the complex math concept can be converted into my own mother tongue, the way I speak in the class, home. I could check with my siblings or somebody, or in a real-time friend or somebody, and see that how this can be, learned, how the knowledge acquisition can happen, okay, for more clarity, right? If we can have it, this is possible now. And more than that, like, the classroom or the learning environment always runs on a time, right? 6 hours per day or 8 hours per day in a school. And the teacher always has a constraint of delivering content within that 45 minutes or 1 hour, right? So we cannot expect practically that everyone can do. But if I can have a kind of a companion like Notebook LM or something where I can slowly in my own pace interact with it, right? Addressing my particular issue, or the way that what teacher taught, and where I'm struggling to uh, literally get some kind of a summarized view, right? Or more deeper view. This is possible now. And after that, like, the way I communicate, or the way I'm good in speech than in my written text, or probably I don't understand much. Maybe I'm a visual learner. So I do need some kind of a detailed video about it. So these are all something like, which is really happening possible, with AI slowly as days go. I don't say that everything is available now, but the world is progressing towards that. So this becomes a kind of a win-win workflow, particularly, okay, and enhancing accessibility for all. So the conclusion, like, we need to think about it. It's my own choice always. Okay, am I getting integrated or not? Okay, but rest assured, like, AI is here to support integration and inclusion, right? And for that, from a human side, we have to be empathetic as well as, on quote, more responsible how we use this as a tool, right? And India is not alone being left out. Like, there are so much of strategic decisions taken at the government level, both at the union as well as in the state level. Okay, there are so much of uh, things happening. I'm happy to share with you that Tamil Nadu has got a minister for AI. Okay, not an AI minister. There may be some time, but still, now we have a minister for
I
AI.
hope that time doesn't come.
Yeah, there may be meetings like where AI agents will come for a symposium like this and discuss, like, now how we can improve human productivity. It may happen at some time, right? So India is also doing this, as much as possible for democratizing this AI, particularly to bridge the gap, as we discuss in the digital divide. It has been right mentioning from the policies of NEP and getting into a mission like India mission. And not alone just putting it in the policy, they have also started developing platforms now, okay, where people can get into, do some trials and all that. Much more way to go, but still, we have started somewhere, right? So Anuvadini is something like that. And the good thing is like even the existing platforms of Diksha for sharing, right? They also started integrating a part of it now slowly. And the higher education side, the SWAYAM courses, they're thinking about integrating AI. Are probably I have to still more and check like how at some point of time I will be able to see this kind of a sign language chatbot coming in and say that you want to have it in sign language. Okay, let's hope for that. And I pass at this point of stage now. Okay, for your questions. At
Thank
the same
you.
time, like for an interactive session, like I'm not sure, like Anusha, do you have time for this? Okay.
We can take that. And if there are questions, you could also, people can unmute and do. We'll just have to, yeah, this won't take 3 minutes or so, right? Yes.
Yeah, maximum 1 or 2 minutes. People can scan this particular a QR code and
Or they could go to slido.com and
yeah,
type
tripod
in
777300 323. Yeah, and we'll see this poll happening.
the number is 7300323 for
Yeah,
those who
thank
are going to slido.com.
you.
There should be a space between 7300 and 323.
Thank you. The participants are responding back. This for a kind of a joint collaborative learning for everyone. Great. That's for artificial general intelligence is moving about. Great. Thank you. Oh, thank you for posting the number too.
Yeah.
Very good. I appreciate that, like, even on a self-interest or probably the passion interest or the strength, unique strength. Okay. I was happy, like, as the things are posting, right? I met a girl from US. Okay. And he uses an assistive technology. Okay. Like it's a kind of a modular system wherein she's a very passionate Bharatanatyam dancer. Okay. Imagine that the particular the music or song has to be played and she has to dance to that, right? At the same time, you'll all see in any kind of such performances, particularly like there'll be one particular orchestrating person who will be saying tati tata tamata something like that, right? And her mother, who is again an expert, okay, you are sitting at a distance and doing this, and the AT device helped that particular girl to listen and do that. Okay, learns accordingly. This was kind of imaginary previously, but now this is happening because of technology here now, even in arts. So I'm just gone back to those particular day when I say
Right.
music or not. So a person with deafness doing all this. Thank you.
Yes, I think there are now, and I hope we can kind of go
Yeah.
to the end of the session with
Great.
questions if there are
So
others. There have been
yeah,
people who have been definitely asking for the links, Shankar, to some of these
positively,
fascinating
positively.
apps that you have
Yeah.
introduced us to.
Yeah.
And it has
So
definitely opened our eyes to a lot of questions. For instance, your take on data sharing versus data privacy. I
yeah,
mean, we constantly look at it, but then data is also for learning, and
yeah,
sharing as learning is a very critical aspect that we also need to think about.
yeah,
Um, uh, as we don't have immediate questions on the screen, at least that I can see, though people have appreciated the language barrier aspect, I was wondering, are there AI models that people could use where data sharing is a concern, but they could maybe use AI instead of large language models, work on small language models and work on it in a classroom
right.
or a school context? Is that
Yeah,
something that work is being done on, or elements there?
yeah, yeah. We call it as local language models, actually, like
Right.
local LLMs now.
Yeah.
That's also an area now people are talking more about it, wherein I could restrict myself to a kind of a classroom, or the way like I could at least restrict myself on privacy note, or even on a business note, to my own domain level. For example, think about I do have a kind of a school, and then probably the whole data, if it can be stored in my own kind of a servers and all that, and LLMs build on that particularly, then I have the privacy of using that particular data only for my school level, right? So though I'm enabling cloud with all that security and privacy settings, particularly when it has this local alarms playing and providing you information, providing you insights and all that, I feel like the development can also happen in that manner, as you ask for, uh, a more private and more responsible way of handling AI. Yeah, it's possible now.
And
It's
yeah,
possible.
and so the reason I was asking is that maybe some may be still concerned about data, and there are possibilities that there is data
Yeah,
learning
yeah,
without there being too much of, too widespread a sharing that can't
yeah,
be controlled.
yeah,
And so there are many possibilities, and we did love the takeaway slide that you had of Anuvadini. I took the liberty and put the link of that
sure,
directly.
sure. Please,
There's
please
also
share it.
Bhashini,
Yes,
which is there.
yeah,
There is a host, as you rightly pointed out, of work apps. I
yeah,
think people were fascinated with Riz Vision as well, and so many of the others that you pointed out. A question for someone who is novice. You started by telling us about the the Microsoft or anything that we can access and look at
right.
how we are accessible. But
Yeah,
if we want to make ourselves a little bit more aware, what would your suggestion be, Shankar, to explore this world of AI for
positively,
education, but inclusive education?
positively. Maybe I'm sharing my numbers too. If anybody is more interested, we can always have a kind of asynchronous mode of conversation with through WhatsApp also. At the same time, we have to just explore whatever we already have, in our laptop as application packages, or probably a mobile device, right? Just a kind of a, they'll say, click of a button. Now it's like swiping of a screen. Simple as it. Get into settings and say out or type out accessibility. Okay, then you will know that the power of particularly how um, the whole mobile system can work on a visual mode, or on an auditory mode, or in a way that I don't have. For example, I do have a cut on my finger and all that, so I'm not able to use my swiping finger now, right? How I can use it using the interactive access there. Okay, so there are assistive devices, particularly even I'll say that there is a Eva mouse. Okay, that's an app called Eva mouse, wherein I don't sitting at any place, or probably even I'm a child or an adult, who cannot sit or stand, but I may have to be in a lying down posture. Also, I can operate a mobile. Okay, it does work with the kind of the movement of your head, right? You'll be able to scroll, you'll be able to select, right, using the dwell technique, which is available in your mobile. So exploring more such options, because now these digital devices are becoming more and more accessible, and additional accessibility is built more upon this through such kind of apps like, as I showed you, Wrist Vision or Easy Reader. There are so many plethora of applications which are leveraging AI and then bringing in accessibility.
Yeah, there was Tarun who did ask a question on, again, which was related to language and focused on the question that in a country as diverse as India, how do we make it inclusive for even including diversity? I mean, one of it is accessibility for blind or the deaf, but also
Yeah, right. Currently, the focus is on no more on the scheduled languages. If you see this Anuvadini also, like they have started focusing on the languages, particularly who have a good semantic as well as the structure, right, being spoken as well as being written with the script. So slowly, like maybe the other languages, probably it has to be from the kind of the education fraternity or the scientist fraternity to look upon other languages which are just spoken also in future, right? But currently the whole emphasis is more upon the scheduled scripts of languages which are available in your constitution, and they are focusing more on it. And that's where even for Indian Sign Language, ISL came into existence. Okay, because you know that everyone makes a different gesture, right, in every part of India. And there is an institution called ISLRTC, Indian Sign Language Research and Training Center. It's a centralized body which works on standardizing ISL gestures. This is not going to work only for students or adults with deafness in education. This will also help even as you become an elderly person and you started having your hearing loss and you started making gestures, right? You may have to interact with other people also, a caregiver or somebody, but you have a standardized form of gestures now as Indian Sign Language, right? This may be used in any way, like where there is no requirement for a spoken language, right? ISL can be a part of it. This is how the inclusion is happening, and literally there is a challenge. There is a challenge, particularly with our own culture and language, being more diverse. But the current focus is more on such kind of scheduled languages, and slowly they are moving upon. Because even in our, particularly, I'd like to bring it here because we see the Devanagari script, the way the grammatic way it goes, and the South Indian language script like Tamil or Kannada or Malayalam or Telugu that goes, it's a different way, right? Kind of Junun language they call it, right? So uh, there has to be more of research is being done, particularly to address that kind of a barrier also. But there are so many institutions like CDAC and everybody are working on that. Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you so much, Shankar. We are running out of time. So,
Sure.
I mean, ideally, a workshop from you would really help, I think, more
Absolutely. We
hands-on
can do more
learning.
on, on the
And
tools
we
and
will look at
devices.
that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But there is going to be another session after the break, so we will cut short this session. But
Thank
thank
you.
you so very much for, I think, constantly telling us how technology is a lot of these elements of where AI is both an inclusion piece and it is a hope. You gave us so much hope that there's so much, and you also gave us a lot of caution of how we can use it. But
Yeah.
you also told us how much more work there is. So you kind of laid
Yeah.
the roadmap and then lit a torch for us to find the way. And thank you for that.
Sure.
It's quite accessible. So very much. I think one of your entire elements, for me at least, was how to think of data, because we're so looking at data for privacy that
Yeah.
data as sharing for inclusion is something that we should more think about, and how teachers and every one of us as educators should think about it.
Right.
To think about care. And
Yeah.
the other takeaway was your constant emphasis of humans in the loop. I hope
Yes,
that we
yes,
never
positively.
have AI ministers for sure. But you gave a very fascinating, I was thinking that that's a great session plan, have like Claude and Meta and Grok and everyone
Yeah.
have a webinar discussion
Yeah.
and we are all participants
Yeah.
asking questions.
Right.
It's an interesting thought. I don't know whether I would agree with them or not, but these are very interesting ideas. So thank you for
Yeah,
exciting
because like,
us.
being in the IT industry, just taking a minute, we're now constantly being asked for, engineers, software developers to develop agents. Okay.
Yes,
Agents. Okay, they
yes,
talk about like, we have heard about agents in CBI or RA, or probably
yes.
others, right?
But now it is agentic AI.
Agentic AI everywhere, right? So,
And
yeah.
so you helped us to see that we shouldn't be reactive, but
Yes.
predictive.
Predictive.
And it was very, very and proactive in a sense. And that slide was also very capturing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So thank you for those. And
Sure.
I really think for us, it is all about the fact that it can't be just a design question, but it is really at the end of it a care and a
Exactly.
human
Exactly.
question.
Exactly.
So thank you for
So human first, actually.
yes,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
thank you so much for that, Shankar.
No, I should thank maybe like, ISL and
Yes,
Tarun and the
yes,
whole
I will.
management team, and
It is
you
Anusha to be
being my
thanked.
moderator, actually. Yeah, Anusha is so close to me.
No,
Thank you.
Shankar, it's been a pleasure having you, and we will think
Thank you.
about more in a sense. And I definitely the ISL team. I will not thank the ISL team. I'm part of the ISL team, so I will. But they have been a wonderful, wonderful. Tarun has been all through
Great.
very, very, very great, and the whole team, in fact. So Dipali and everyone else. So
Yeah.
thank you, thanks to everyone. But